Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another GTA Online video here on the channel. Today I have some gameplay review of all 12 of the Dripfeed vehicles in the Criminal Enterprises DLC. And how I'm going to structure the video is the same as I've done in the past. I'll first show some customization while talking about each vehicle, then I'll take each car for a drive where you can hear how it sounds, and then I'll give my opinion on how each vehicle handles and performs. Also, keep in mind that the order that I show these vehicles in is not the order they're going to release in, it's just completely random the way I did it. With that being said, let's start out with one of my favorite cars of the Dripfeed, the Obey 10F. Now, this car has two variants to it, the 10F and the 10F wide body. I'll show gameplay of both right here. For customization, it has a good amount. Most of it is your typical sports car customization with custom bumpers, hood options, roof options, spoilers. The 10F wide body does have a bit more customization than the regular variant, and it also has a few more liveries to choose from than the regular variant does. Me personally, I prefer a lot of cars with very simple customization rather than the wacky kind, and so for this car, with the regular variant, I went more simple, and the wide body, I went with more of the custom options on it. I don't know if it's just me, but the wide body variant sounds louder than the standard variant. Both versions, of course, sound awesome. I'm glad they didn't make it underwhelming like the 9F engine note is. In terms of how they drive, I would say they are a little on the rough side for traction, and probably on the average side in the acceleration and top speed departments. But I'm definitely picking up this car the moment it releases just because, like I said, this is my favorite car IRL. Moving on, this is the Weevil Custom, and what's interesting about this vehicle is that the normal Weevil is actually a compact car, and when it's upgraded at Benny's and transformed into the Weevil Custom, it becomes a muscle car. And with it being a Benny's car, the customization is very deep. I decided to go for the kind of apocalyptic look, like the one from the trailer with the skulls and chains on it. And now that I'm thinking about it, this would have made a great arena war vehicle. It could have been like an apocalypse variant for this. I absolutely love this car's wheels too. It's got those giant ones in the back, and when you lower the suspension, the car has some camber to it as well. Just looks awesome all around. So a few things I noticed right away when driving this vehicle: it takes off really quick. In a straight line, it might be one of the quicker muscle cars, at least for accelerating. But its handling is pretty god-awful, I have to say. The braking is bad, it has a ton of understeer, which I wasn't expecting while going into that corner. But if you can handle it properly, this will be a good car, I feel. Here we have the Vega ZX, the long-awaited modern-day Camaro. The customization isn't too outrageous on this car. It's got your typical options that you would expect on a muscle car. The liveries, to tell you the truth, I kind of wish they were more simple ones. Aside from the black and white stripes, a lot of them are just race car liveries. I went for the black and yellow Bumblebee style look for mine, so I chose the black stripes livery with the yellow primary. Other than that though, this is just a nice looking car. They did a great job on the model for it. Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the top muscle cars once it becomes available. Its handling isn't quite as good as the Buffalo STX, but its acceleration feels a bit better in my opinion. On top of that, this is going to have an HSW upgrade to it, so I can only imagine how fast that's going to be with that equipped. It's just going to be flying down the road. Up next is the DeClass Draugr, the off-road vehicle of this DLC, and this thing is massive. It sits very high off the ground. For an off-road vehicle, it's got an average amount of customization. You can almost make it look like a trophy truck with some of the custom parts you can add to the trunk of the vehicle. The primary and secondary color combinations are well done. You can create some great combos with it. You can also add a snorkel and have the exhaust up top, which makes the vehicle look like even more of a beefy off-roader. I don't really have any complaints here. First thing I noticed driving the Draugr, it shoots off the line very fast, and its handling is also amazing. It feels great to drive this vehicle. If I had to make a prediction, I would say that this is your new best off-road vehicle, not counting bikes, of course. Its performance is very good. And another thing I wanted to test out with this vehicle, since it does have a snorkel, is if you could take it into deep waters and still have the car survive. And unfortunately, that is not the case. Even when the snorkel and exhaust are above water, the car still breaks down, which is kind of unfortunate. We have another Conjo variant in this update. This is the Conjo SJ, which is the non-hatchback Honda Civic. It's in the Coupes class, and Rockstar did say we were getting more tuners cars. I can only assume this is one of those tuner cars just by judging some of the customization it has, but we'll have to see when it does release if it truly is a tuner's vehicle. The customization is alright. I went for the good old Fast and Furious Honda Civic with the black and green underglow on it. And to answer everyone's question, yes, it does have a Princess Robot bubblegum livery to it as well. It'll be interesting to see how this vehicle performs against the Previan. I would almost say the Previan feels quicker and handles a bit better, but that's not fact. That's just based off my own feelings driving the vehicle for the first time. And while we're on the topic of coupes, here is another car from this DLC in the coupes class, the Dinka Postlude. This car I turned into a straight up meme mobile just because it has some of the wackiest customization out of any car in this update. When I first saw that last exhaust option, I thought to myself, I have to use that. The coiled blasted pipes just look so ridiculous. And really a lot of the options on this car look ridiculous. When you drop the suspension, it also gets cambered so much. There are a good selection of liveries on this vehicle too, and all in all, it's just a fun car to customize and mess around with. It's hard to say if this vehicle feels quicker than the Conjo SJ that we just looked at. I think both the Conjo and the Previan are probably going to beat this around a track. I'm not sure if anyone would really buy this car for the purpose of racing with it though. Here is another car that a lot of people are excited for, the SM722, or the Sterling Moss in real life. There's not a ton of customization for this car, partially because it's missing a roof, so you can't really customize a lot of those things that normally cars would have. I would say it's on the lower end of customization for this DLC. That's not to say it doesn't have any though, and what it does have looks great. I especially like the liveries on it, but for this build I went with a metal color. I think it was like brushed aluminum. I just think silver looks great on this vehicle. I also didn't change the rims because the stock rims went great with the color I was trying to go for. In the sports class, I just don't know if this is going to be a top pick for racing. The GTO I feel will definitely smoke it. The sound of this vehicle reminds me a lot of the Schlagen GT, which I guess makes sense since they're both benefactor vehicles. It does sound like it has a little bit more detail than the Schlagen's engine sound though. This is another one of Benny's cars coming to the game in the next few weeks or months whenever Rockstar decide to release it. The Sentinel Classic wide body. And yeah, it's just a Sentinel Classic, but with a wide body and a bit more customization than the regular Sentinel Classic, which makes sense as it's a Benny's vehicle. I thought this is one of the more fun cars to customize in this update, and it might actually have the most customization out of all the cars in the update. There's a lot you can modify in the vehicle, from hood options, grille options, bumpers, louvers, spoilers, liveries, and so many more that I didn't mention. I don't own a Sentinel Classic, so I can't tell if this is quicker than the regular Sentinel Classic, but this car is in the sports class and not the sports classic, so I don't think it really can hold a candle to the likes of the Italia GTO and some of the other top sports cars. But if you like customizing cars, this one is up your alley for sure. We have another Ruiner variant coming in the drip feed. This is the Ruiner ZZ8, and in my opinion, it's the best looking Ruiner that we have in the game thus far. This is of course a muscle car with an okay amount of customization. My favorite part about customizing this car was definitely the livery options. The tribal one with the stripes looks very good. You can also close the roof off if you don't like the glass look to it, which is exactly what I did, but it doesn't have a whole lot different to it than your usual muscle car customization. Out of all the Ruiners, this is definitely the best performing Ruiner. That being said, competing against the other top muscle cars, I don't think it really stands a chance. I think the Buffalo STX and Vajero would probably beat this in a race easily. And Vajero, I mean the new Vajero, not the old one. But if you like the Trans Am in real life, you're probably going to like this car for sure. We're down to our last two vehicles now. This is the Brioso 300 wide body. Again, another Benny's upgraded vehicle, which means the customization is going to be on the greater side. There are a bunch of different looks and builds you can make for this vehicle. I went for a blue and yellow variant with the aero livery to sort of match that. The spoilers are also insane on this vehicle. I put one on just to show off the massive amounts of customization it has. All in all, I think it came out looking great. Now, this is a compact vehicle, which means it's going to be up against the BF Club, and I just don't think this would stand a chance against the Club personally. It feels very slow. Then again, the Brioso 300 has never really been known to be a speed demon, so this information shouldn't really surprise you. This is just one of those vehicles that you buy for the customization and to look at. And last but not least, we have a new sedan entering the arena, the Reinhardt. For customization, it's nothing to write home about. It's on the lower end of customization for this DLC. I would say the best part are the liveries, though. I really like the Perseus livery on it. I think it looks really good. There's also a massive wing you can slap on it, which I, of course, did to be as aerodynamic as possible. But honestly, there's not too much apart from those things you can customize on this car. I don't want to jump to conclusions or anything, but this might be one of the best sedans for racing. I think it has a good chance of competing with the Tailgater S. I believe that's another one in the sedans class. And the Shafter V12, somehow that vehicle just keeps on being good after all these years. I don't know if it'll beat that in a straight line, but around turns it feels really good. Anyways, that is going to wrap up the 12 Dripfeed vehicles, or I guess 11 if you don't count the 10F and the 10F widebody as two separate vehicles. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. Like I said, these were in no specific order, but one thing I do know about the order is that the 10F looks to be releasing last, which is quite depressing, I have to say. But for the others, they're in a different order than what is shown here. But with all that being said, thank you guys all for watching, and have a great day.